Hello there, lovely good evening and welcome to Camnet TV main news today, Thursday the 30th of July in the year 2026. Let's now take a look at the news headlines. Coalition questions return of tobacco bill after Parliament approved it. MISA launches reports urging stronger access to information and digital inclusion. 6 in custody as DEC steps up intelligence-led anti-drug operations. In international news, Nigeria dismantles METH lab as Mexican cartels push into country. In sports, SALIYA MWANZA declares Copper Queens ready for WAFCON battle. Join us with these and many more stories after the break.
Applications for the National Primary School Debate Competition are now open. Collect your form at your nearest district headquarters.
You need to apply for this.
Me?
Yes, you, Chipo.
But I am just a cattle boy from the village.
There is nothing small about being a cattle boy. If you never knock, the door will never open. There was another boy, like you, Chipo. He had nothing but the cattle and the long days. He left the cattle and he climbed. He asked for the hardest job in the country. 2006, he knocked. 2008, 2011, 2015, 2016. Still, it would not open. And they put him behind a door of their own. He waited there, Chipo, and he did not stop believing the door would open. Then one day he stood up. He went to the door and he knocked the first time. And then he knocked the second time. And in 2021, the door opened. And when the door opened, the real work began. 860 kilometers of new feeder roads and 11,000 more health workers, 30,000 new teachers in a single year. And when school was made free, the children came back, 2.5 million, the biggest numbers we have ever seen. All that because one cattle boy decided to knock on the door. If you never knock, the door will never be open to you.
Shikulu, I will go get the forms.
That's my boy.
On the 13th of August 2026, vote for Hakainde Hichilema as President of the Republic of Zambia. And let's continue to move Zambia forward together.
In every celebration, there's a simple choice being made. To belong. Count me in. In moments of love and promises for tomorrow, count me in. At the checkout line, in the middle of an ordinary day, a reminder that every number matters. Count me in. Across our communities, our streets, the same message finds us. Count me in. From the everyday worker to the hands shaping our future every day, the call is the same. Count me in. And around the traditions that bring us together, the message becomes impossible to ignore. Count me in.
This election season, your vote counts. Get your NRC and voters card ready.
Count me in.
Camnet TV main news now showing on the following platforms: Top Star channel 106, streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and on the Kinstream app. With the main news in detail, I'm Tapelo Joe Smata. A coalition of civil society organizations, health professionals, economists, and public health advocates has called on President Hakainde Hichilema to assent to a tobacco control bill, saying further delays will cost lives and undermine Zambia's public health goals. Speaking during a press briefing in Lusaka today, the Tobacco Control Consortium of Zambia patron, Professor Feston Goma, said the tobacco control bill had undergone nearly 20 years of consultations, technical reviews, and parliamentary scrutiny before Parliament passed it in May this year. Professor Goma said the coalition was disappointed that the bill was referred back for reconsideration after reaching the President's desk for assent, despite the dissolution of the 13th National Assembly. He noted that Zambia ratified the World Health Organization Framework Convention on Tobacco Control in 2008 and that the proposed law had undergone a regulatory impact assessment, cabinet approval, and extensive stakeholder consultations involving government institutions, civil society, academia, faith-based organizations, and even the tobacco industry. The coalition also expressed concern that private efforts to engage the presidency for opportunity for dialogue. Representing the Zambia Medical Association, ZMA, Dr. Innocent Ngwira described the bill as a critical public health intervention designed to protect current and future generations from tobacco-related diseases. Dr. Ngwira said the proposed legislation would create smoke-free public spaces, introduce stronger health warnings on tobacco packaging, prohibit misleading product descriptions, and strengthen restrictions on tobacco advertising and sponsorship. He added that the bill would also promote public education on health effects of tobacco use and help reduce non-communicable diseases such as cancer, heart disease, and lung disease. And the coalition's chairperson, Tobacco Control Consortium of Zambia, TCZ Executive Director Albert Piri, dismissed what he described as misinformation surrounding the bill. Mr. Piri said the proposed law does not ban tobacco farming, manufacturing, or trade, but instead regulates tobacco consumption and marketing to protect public health. He also rejected claims that the legislation would destroy Zambia's tobacco industry, pointing to countries such as Kenya and Uganda, where tobacco control laws coexist with tobacco production.
The Tobacco Control Bill, NAB number 40 of 2025, passed its third reading in our National Assembly. After nearly 2 decades of drafting, consultations, revisions, and compromises, Zambia appeared finally to have reached the end of a long legislative journey. The bill proceeded for presidential assent. Civil society waited. Days passed, then weeks. On 24th June 2026, the Tobacco Control Consortium wrote respectively to President Hakainde Hichilema seeking clarifications to the delay. On 29th June, State House responded simply, and I quote, "The said bill was retained to the National Assembly for reconsideration."
The bill provides a comprehensive legal framework to reduce the prevalence of tobacco-related diseases in the country. As we are all aware, the impact in terms of public health, we are basically trying to protect the population from second-hand smoke through smoke-free environments. We are all aware of the vulnerable populations in our sector.
The regulatory impact assessment that was done on this particular bill showed and highlighted that it is in fact good for the economy, that it will only strengthen the economy further. And another misconception is that it is a foreign concept. Tobacco control legislation is a foreign concept. Why are we trying to adopt a foreign concept in Zambia?
The Media Institute of Southern Africa, MISA Zambia, has called for the full implementation of the Access to Information ATI Act through digital platforms to ensure citizens can access timely public information and participate meaningfully in governance. The call came during the launch of 2 research reports that examine the impact of online speech, digital journalism, and civic technology in Zambia. The reports analyze how the implementation of the ATI Act is shaping access to information through online platforms while assessing progress in digital inclusion and accessibility. MISA Zambia chairperson Lauren Chisanga said the studies provide evidence-based recommendations on strengthening transparency, improving citizens' access to public information, and promoting inclusive digital participation. The organization stressed that effective implementation of the ATI Act should enable public institutions to proactively provide information through digital platforms, allowing citizens to access government information promptly and efficiently. According to Ms. Chisanga, the reports also highlight the need to expand digital inclusion by ensuring that online information services remain accessible to all citizens, including those in undeserved communities. And the Zambia National Broadcasting Corporation, ZNBC, says it is reviewing its strategic direction to remain competitive as social media increasingly becomes a primary source of news and information for many Zambians. Speaking at the launch of the 2 Media Institute of Southern Africa, MISA Zambia reports in Lusaka, Acting Director General Ruben Kajokoto said the national broadcaster has continued to improve its broadcasting performance, but recognizes that audiences' preferences are rapidly shifting toward digital platforms. Mr. Kajokoto said the rise of social media presents the opportunities and challenges for the media industry, making it necessary for broadcasters to adapt and strengthen their digital presence.
The 2 reports are as a result of empirical research, analysis, and stakeholder engagement. They give us a chance. To look at our current digital and media ecosystem in general. They also examine how provisions within our broader regulatory and legislative framework, including cyber laws, impact online speech, digital journalism, and civic debates. They assess how the implementation of the Access to Information framework interacts with online platforms to ensure citizens receive accurate information, timely and uncensored public information, and also in highlighting digital inclusion and accessibility.
ZNBC is particularly pleased with the report findings in the digital transformation domain, which placed the broadcaster in the grid performance band. We welcome the finding that ZNBC online and social media scored 69.9, which is above average, 69.9% as a primary news source, and that 50% of respondents rated our digital adoption as good and excellent. As I conclude, Mr. Chairperson, I wish to thank MISA Zambia for this continuous advocacy, partnership in building a robust, independent, and public-centered media ecosystem in Zambia. At ZNBC, we feel that the findings and recommendations in this report are coming at the right time when we have a new act, and we are also revising our strategic plan for 2027 to 2031.
The Drug Enforcement Commission DEC has arrested 6 suspects and seized large quantities of cannabis and codeine base cough syrup during intelligence-led operations conducted on the Copper Belt, Muchinga and Southern provinces. According to DEC Public Relations Officer Alan Tamba, the operations targeted the cultivation, production, trafficking and distribution of illicit drugs and resulted in the recovery of cannabis weighing more than 110 kilograms, cannabis plants and seeds, as well as 15 boxes of benylin with codeine. In Mufulira district, Mr. Tamba said DEC officers arrested 29-year-old Wisdom Sinkala, popularly known as Slim 70, after intercepting him while driving a Honda Fit. Mr. Tamba said officers allegedly discovered 65 kilograms of cannabis concealed in plastic packaging inside the vehicle, which has since been seized. Mr. Tamba said Sinkala had been on the Commission's watch list and has been charged with trafficking in psychotropic substances under the Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Act No. 35 of 2021. In Muchinga province, Mr. Tamba said the DEC, working jointly with the Department of National Parks and Wildlife, arrested 50-year-old Davis Mulenga of Milango village for allegedly trafficking 20 grams of loose cannabis and 15 grams of cannabis seeds. He said officers also arrested 32-year-old James Kombe for allegedly trafficking in 40 grams of loose cannabis. Mr. Tamba said during the same operation, officers recovered 16 kilograms of abandoned cannabis hidden on a bicycle after its owner fled the scene. He said a search of the suspect's premises also led to the seizure of 1.5 kilograms of cannabis plants growing in a garden. He further said DEC has launched a manhunt for the fleeing suspect. Meanwhile, in Kalabo district, Southern province, officers arrested 33-year-old Oakley Hambokoma after allegedly finding 90 pre-packed parcels of cannabis weighing 9.2 kilograms concealed in a box. Mr. Tamba says DEC believes the drugs were being trafficked into Zambia from a neighboring country. In a separate operation at the Victoria Falls, Mr. Tamba said officers intercepted 15 boxes containing bottles of benylin with codeine concealed inside a truck. He said the operation resulted in the arrest of 41-year-old Douglas Peary of Matero North in Lusaka, who has been charged with unlawful importation of the controlled medicine. Mr. Tamba said all 6 suspects remain in lawful custody and are expected to appear in court. The Commission has appealed to members of the public to continue reporting suspected drug traffickers, saying community operation is critical in combating drug trafficking and protecting communities from drug use. And that particular story takes us to our first set of commercials, but do join us for more news when we come back. Do stay tuned.
Voting is one of the few moments where we all have a voice.
One person, one vote.
No titles, no status.
Just a choice.
It's not about doing nothing.
It's about showing up.
Because your vote matters.
It's easy.
It's important.
It's ours.
Count me in.
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 Get all the latest updates in court news only on Camnet TV. We take you and make you feel part of the court sessions through our in-depth coverage of the adjudication process. Get informed on those that have been arrested, delayed and denied the police bond or bail victims, persons taking plea, court adjournments, verdicts, and those administration issues in the judiciary. You can also follow and give us a like on our social media platforms. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Are you looking for a reliable and efficient courier company with international standards? Then let UBZ Courier, your trusted partner in swift and secure deliveries, be your ultimate choice. Whether it's a small package or a hefty consignment, UBZ Courier handles it all, locally and internationally. Our modern call center ensures personalized attention for every client. For seamless deliveries within Zambia and beyond, trust UBZ Courier. Call us now on +260 763 062 680 or visit us at plot number 15 Mwapona Road, Woodland, Lusaka, Zambia. UBZ Courier, a world-class brand that can be trusted.
It's morning again in Zambia. Today, millions of our children will go to school more than ever before in the history of our country, because free education is opening doors that were once closed. Today, with over 40 million kwacha to spend, communities will build clinics, improve schools, drill boreholes, and transform lives using the increased CDF. Men and women will walk through markets and stations freely, without fear or intimidation from cadres. But the journey is not over, and we still have more work to do.
We've started the change. Now let's finish the job. On the 13th of August 2026, vote for Hakainde Hichilema as President of the Republic of Zambia. And let us continue to move Zambia forward together.
Welcome back to the Camnet main news, and now the news continues. The Center for Trade Policy and Development, CTPD, has urged the government to ensure that all ministerial and provincial budget submissions are climate responsive as it prepares the 2027 national budget and the 2027 to 2029 medium-term budget plan. The organization said climate resilience must become a central feature of public spending, warning that Zambia faces significant economic and social risks from a forecast Super El Nino during the 2026-2027 season. CTPD's call comes as the Ministry of Finance and National Planning leads consultations on the 2027 budget framework. The organization said forecasts indicate that the anticipated climate event could bring severe droughts, widespread crop failures, and energy shortages across southern Africa, with impacts that could match or exceed those experienced during the 2023-2024 season. According to CTPD, Zambia cannot afford to adopt a passive approach to budgeting in the face of escalating climate threats.
As the means of finance and national planning spearheads the formulation of the 2027 national budget, as well as the 2027 to 2029 midterm budget plan. The Center for Trade Policy and Development urgently calls on the government to ensure all ministries or ministerial as well as provincial budget submissions are strictly climate responsive. This is in regard to the focus of the Super El Nino globally, which will affect the Southern Africa, inclusive of Zambia. And looking at the Super El Nino is more than the 2023-2024 El Nino season or we experienced, where the energy sector we saw in terms of over 23 hours of load shedding, which impacted on the economic activities of the country. In the agriculture sector, I think we saw in terms of less crops in that sector. So I think going forward, it's high time that government put in necessary measures to insulate ourselves from those devastating impacts. Therefore, CTPD strongly urges the means of finance to utilize the current window to enforce the following measures. I think one of them is mandatory climate screening of the budget submissions, as well as the other one is also prioritizing anticipatory funding, because government must deliberately allocate resources toward.
The Zambian government has moved to reassure citizens after the United States announced that routine visa processing services for Zambia will be transferred to South Africa from 1st August 2026. In a statement issued Thursday, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation said it had been formally notified by the United States Embassy in Lusaka that routine immigrant and non-immigrant visa applications for Zambian nationals and residents will now be processed through the U.S. Consulate General in Johannesburg. The ministry said the change follows a decision by the U.S. Department of State to adjust its visa processing operations in several countries as part of a broader review of its overseas operations. Government acknowledged that the new arrangement could affect students, business people, tourists, and other travelers seeking U.S. visas. It said it is engaging the U.S. Embassy in Lusaka to better understand the operational arrangements and ensure accurate information reaches affected applicants. The ministry clarified that the U.S. Embassy in Lusaka will remain operational and will continue providing consular services to U.S. citizens, diplomatic and official visa services, as well as limited non-immigrant visa services in cases considered to be in the national interest of the United States. Government has advised people with pending visa applications or scheduled appointments to follow guidance issued directly by U.S. authorities and use official U.S. government channels for information on appointments, visa fee payments, and application procedures. The ministry further stressed that the administrative decision does not affect the long-standing cordial relations between Zambia and the United States, adding that Zambia remains committed to strengthening the mutually beneficial partnership between the two countries. It said it will continue monitoring the situation and provide further updates when necessary. All this is contained in a statement issued by Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation Principal Public Relations Officer Eva Hatontola. We now go to Western Province, where the Electoral Commission of Zambia, ECZ, has encouraged more women in Western Province to actively participate in the upcoming general election while promoting peaceful campaigns. Speaking in Mongu, Western Province Provincial Electoral Officer Nixon Nkwapu said the commission was encouraged by the enthusiasm women have shown in registering as voters and seeking information about the electoral process. Mr. Nkwapu urged women to translate that interest into active participation in the electoral process and contribute to strengthening democracy. He also called on women to reject political violence, hate speech, insults, and intimidation during the election period, saying peaceful participation is essential for credible and inclusive elections. Meanwhile, Women's Lobby Mongu District Chairperson Cecilia Litenga appealed to women and young people not to allow themselves to be used as instruments of political violence. Ms. Litenga urged political players and supporters to embrace peace, unity, and love before, during, and after the elections. Our reporter, Musiewo Kelvin Kabila, filed in this report.
The Electoral Commission of Zambia today held an engagement sensitization meeting in educating women, civil society organizations, faith-based organizations, political parties, and other stakeholders on the electoral process and code of conduct. In addressing the participants during the conference, Western Province Provincial Electoral Officer Nixon Kwampo has appealed to all women across the country to contribute to the electoral process in a meaningful manner.
Therefore, it is important that you understand your relevance in the conduct of the successful elections and the importance of your participation in the electoral process. In addition, it is important for you as women to contribute to the electoral process in the meaningful manner, and more specifically about the need to refrain from violence, hate speech, insults, and intimidation. To those of you who are registered as voters, to ensure that you turn up to vote during the forthcoming 2026 general election.
Meanwhile, Mungu District Electoral Officer also Mpofu has appealed to all the people to conduct themselves in a good manner in order to have a peaceful election.
Our desire is to have a free and fair election, okay? And therefore we expect that our women folk should be part of this success story. Our appeal also is that, people must conduct themselves in a good manner so that we have a peaceful election. So we appeal for peace even as we prepare for these elections. We are one people, and so we want to choose leaders of our choice.
Some participants spoken to have called on all other women across the country to refrain from being used for violence.
As women, we should be the leaders to educate others that the violence should not be there. Even the youth, they should listen to us. Now, as a woman, if I start fighting, what about the young ones? It will be worse. So for me, I think let us, if there is anything we are planning about violence, let us end it before the elections. Organizations, to the friends that are going to take part in the voting, that we are only voting for peace. Because if you have no peace in this country, nothing will happen. People are finding it easy to insult, to do whatever, because they are in a peaceful land.
Because you have seen it, now you're asking us why are there few numbers? They only come to you when they are at the late stage. So when do you start even yourselves to say to engaging the women, the youths, and other people? Here we appreciate because we're going for elections, but let us start the processes of...
Kelvin Kabiramsebo, Camnet News in Mungu District, Western Province.
From Western Province, we now go to Eastern Province, where police in the province have detained a lecturer at Chipata College of Education for allegedly defiling his 15-year-old niece, with investigations revealing that the suspect allegedly used threats and intimidation to silence the victim. Eastern Province Police Commanding Officer Robert Mwemba threatened to send the girl back to her unemployed mother whenever she resisted his advances. Mr. Mwemba said the alleged abuse began in February this year after the suspect's wife left the family home in January, leaving him with the victim and her 9-year-old sibling. He said the suspect allegedly took advantage of the situation and subjected the teenager to repeated sexual abuse. The police commanding officer said the matter came to light after investigations were launched, leading to the suspect's detention. Mr. Mwemba said police are continuing with investigations and have urged members of the public to report cases of sexual abuse to relevant authorities to ensure that victims receive protection and justice.
We confirm of the defilement which took place at the Chipata College of Education. We picked the defiler is in our custody. According to the information, is related is a niece, and he was threatening that if this girl reports, he was going to take her to her mother. Now, on those thinkings, the girl thought now she was going to be dumped by the so-called uncle, and the mother is poor according to her, so she had to remain quiet and do what the uncle was instructing. As we are talking now, the gentleman is in our custody. He's been arrested and he will be appearing in court soon.
And that particular story takes us to our second and final set of commercials. But do join us for international and sports news when we come back. Do stay tuned.
Before 2022, millions of Zambian children stayed home because school was unaffordable for many families. Today, things are much better. No more tuition fees, no more PTA fees, and no more examination fees. More than 2.5 million children are back in class across the country. Schools are feeding our children and classrooms are full again. And with the Enhanced Constituency Development Fund, more classrooms are being built, more desks are being made, more teachers are being hired. Because Bali cares. He has delivered this for all children across Zambia. Because free education is not just a policy. It is a promise to every Zambian child, a promise that poverty will not decide their future. A promise delivered. On the 13th of August 2026, vote for Hakainde Hichilema as President of the Republic of Zambia. And let's continue to move Zambia forward together.
Did you know that you've got the right to complain against any radio or television broadcast? Did you also know that every radio or television station has an obligation to respond and address your complaints when aggrieved? The first step is to complain to the station not more than 3 months after the broadcast took place. It is expected that the station will respond reasonably to you, that is within 14 days. If not satisfied, then escalate your problem to the Independent Broadcasting Authority.
We're at Mass Media Complex, Ali King Carter Road, PO Box 32475, Lusaka, or call us on +260 211 250589 or visit our website at www.iba.org.zm. IBA, promoting ethical and professional broadcasting.
Potatoes, the unsung heroes of flavor. From crispy chips to creamy mash, potatoes are the versatile superstars of your kitchen. Grown with love by our dedicated workforce drawn from around the community of Palavana. Savenda Farm's commitment is to see to it that we have potatoes that are grown right, healthy, big and tasty. For that quick fix or big celebration or that meal that brings family together, top chefs rely on the Savenda potato to create culinary masterpieces. And for others, it's that icebreaker to a delightful conversation. So, embrace the magic of Savenda potatoes. They're not just a side dish, they're the heart and soul of your kitchen. Savenda, save nations, develop Africa.
In every celebration, there's a simple choice being made. To belong, count me in. In moments of love and promises for tomorrow, count me in. At the checkout line, in the middle of an ordinary day, a reminder that every number matters. Count me in. Across our communities, our streets, the same message finds us. Count me in. From the everyday worker to the hands shaping our future every day, the call is the same. Count me in. Around the traditions that bring us together, the message becomes impossible to ignore. Count me in. This election season, your vote counts. Get your NRC and voters card ready. Count me in.
Enjoy the benefits of an instant loan with us ranging from 1,000 kwacha to 750,000 kwacha paid express once collateral is viewed, valued and verified. Call Call us on 0763 595 359 or 0779 432 993. Classified Financial Express, here as your financial friend.
Welcome back to the Camnet News Desk, and now in international news. The cooking condoms and vats of chemicals were left behind in an abandoned shed hidden in a Nigerian forest, remnants of an alleged multi-million-dollar transnational meth operation. Authorities on Wednesday dismantled the crude makeshift meth lab after an ongoing trial involving 3 Mexican nationals took a day to hold court proceedings on site last week. AFP visited the lab in southwestern Ogun State with officers from the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, as they brought in a local welder and carpenter to dismantle the condoms and filtration equipment used to make the meth. West Africa in recent years has emerged as a transit point for drugs making their way from South America to Europe, mostly cocaine. But the meth bust, which nabbed the largest such lab ever discovered in Nigeria, points to Mexican cartel involvement in the country, local authorities have said. Here's a roundup of international stories courtesy of Africa News.
Before its destruction, this meth lab sat on an acre of land in a forest in Ogun State of Nigeria. The scale and sophistication of the operations has worried authorities who suspect that Mexican cartels may be involved. A court has since ordered the facility to be dismantled after an ongoing trial involving 3 Mexican nationals.
There was an operation that took place here. 7 Nigerians and 3 foreign nationals of Mexican cartel were arrested in this particular premises. So, reason why we are here is we are executing a court order. Last week Friday, we got a judgment from the Federal High Court Ikoyi to dismantle this mega laboratory.
West Africa has in recent years emerged as a transit point for drugs making their way from South America to Europe, mostly cocaine. Other substances like meth can be produced locally.
The waterbed is being destroyed. Of course, it's been contaminated with serious toxic chemicals, waste from the lab. Also, the pollution in the air. Of course, we have some humans, people living around, which is not good for them to inhale such gases. So, of course, both for life, for plants, for animals, for human safety and public health is very, very, destructive.
For months, villagers living close to the site had noticed a flurry of activity but never suspected drugs were being made there. Even the pungent smell from the area was mistaken for pig waste. I was excited when they came in. Being moved in was for the construction of a mega residential estate. Meth seizures and raids on labs in Nigeria have been on the rise since around 2011, according to a 2019 report from the Institute for Security Studies, as Latin American specialists exported their know-how to the country.
Hundreds of migrants are swimming from Morocco to the tiny Spanish territory of Ceuta at the country's northern tip, overwhelming border security, according to local authorities. The leader of Ceuta's government said that in the last few days, more than 1,500 migrants, including adults and minors, have reached the island by the sea. He further said that the reception centers are collapsing and saturated. Authorities said migrants previously died in the attempt while 60 bodies being spotted at sea in the last year. Spain's Interior Ministry, which oversees borders and tracks irregular migration, will not confirm the number of crossing or say how many migrants had reached the territory by swimming. Those attempting the crossing are mainly Moroccans, along with a small number of Algerians who had been living in Morocco while trying to migrate to Europe, according to activists in both Morocco and Ceuta. It was not clear what prompted so many migrants to swim to Ceuta.
The Ebola outbreak in eastern Congo is worsening food insecurity in a country already battling one of the world's largest humanitarian crises, the head of the UN Food Agency said Wednesday. Speaking during a visit to Ituri, the World Food Programme chief described the outbreak as a, quote, crisis on top of a crisis, end quote.
Was already catastrophic when it comes to food insecurity. Some 5 million people are in emergency levels of food insecurity, and there are also pockets of disaster level food insecurity. Now with the Ebola crisis, this is getting worse. This is a crisis on top of a crisis. Markets are impacted, supply routes are impacted, and so people are struggling even more to have enough to eat.
He said the effects Ebola has had on markets and supply routes has left people struggling even more with hunger. Across some 48 health zones affected by the outbreak, more than 2.7 million people face acute food insecurity.
It's the fastest moving, fastest spreading Ebola outbreak that we have ever seen, and we have so far not been able to contain it. So I think all the elements are here, the strategy is here, but we need to now step up 3, 4, 5 times. We need more urgency, we need more capacity, we need more resources.
A long-running conflict in eastern Congo has driven nearly 10 million people into crisis or emergency levels of hunger, with Ituri province, the epicenter of the Ebola outbreak, among the most affected.
And finally, in sports news this evening, Zambia defender SALIYA MWANZA says the Copper Queens have developed the confidence and mentality to compete against any opponent at the 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations WAFCON, insisting the team fears no side on the continent. MWANZA said in an interview that Zambia's preparations, experience from previous major tournaments and strong team unity have given the squad belief ahead of their continental campaign in Morocco. The defender, who has been part of the Copper Queens setup as they prepare for the tournament, said the team respects every opponent but remains focused on its own strengths and ambitions. Zambia has been drawn in Group C alongside African giants Nigeria, Egypt and Malawi, setting up a demanding group stage for coach Nora Hopley's side. Despite the tough opposition, MWANZA believes the Copper Queens have what it takes to compete at the highest level. The Copper Queens enter WAFCON 2026 with growing confidence after making significant progress on the international stage. Zambia finished third at the 2022 tournament and reached the quarterfinals at the previous edition, with the team now targeting a deeper run. The tournament also carries extra significance, with the top 4 teams earning qualification for the 2027 FIFA Women's World Cup in Brazil. MWANZA said the team's biggest strength is in its unity and belief among players.
Because in a big opportunity for in mood mukamp ilishe munshe veni 7-0 po kulanganira pali next game including a game international inapita so tista focus pali ba Nigeria fulu pali WAFCON ve batishira encourage masenya players batuza kuikira konzero because kuliva munshe so tsunga taikira ko na sema junior players but first in a favor and some be afraid but apana adapt although we over but it's also good at face game in Nigeria is our because sizangala hizi game vanatiwina so nice tinasevenzerapo and sizangala game yokwevati tikairekerere chezangala ni game iyo eve game ifungotambiwa ku vantu vonse but Nigeria vakaidi vanaluza kuli Malawi so swazabwera easy kulise nice sizavareka easy because vanachikotiwina so izangala ni dabi bora inevenga kameko kuli bantu masupporta wonse vatipasa support outside. Keep on supporting us. Again, game ya Nigeria. We promise to bring 3 points again.
And that particular story brings us to the end of this edition of Main News on Camnet TV. But before we go, we'll take a quick recap of stories that made headlines. Coalition questions return of tobacco bill after Parliament approved it. MISA Zambia launches reports urging stronger access to information and digital inclusion. 6 in custody as DEC steps up intelligence-led anti-drug operations. In international news, Nigeria dismantles METH lab as Mexican cartels push into country. In sports, SALIYA MWANZA declares Copper Queens ready for WAFCON battle. We now look at the Camnet verse for the day, coming from the book of Galatians chapter 6 verse 9. It reads, "And let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap, if we faint not." That ends the Bible reading. That concludes this edition of Main News on Camnet TV. But dear viewer, like always, be reminded that Camnet TV is not just another channel. Now showing on Topstar channel 106, streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and on the CanStream app. Now, on behalf of the entire production team, I'm Tapelo Joe Smata. Good evening and God bless.